Hey everyone, Lee with Mantis Mechanics. And last time I told you that we gave you the final progression for the hardest stance in Kung Fu. Well, I lied. There's actually one more. And this one is one of my favorites. Using the weight to counterbalance you is very good for going down, but sometimes people will still have a problem with that patterning and still have trouble getting into the low crouch, single leg crouch stance. So we're going to reverse engineer this, basically, or reverse patterning it's sometimes called, or sometimes called using yin to find yang, right? Using the opposite movement to find the correct movement, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the ground. And first I'm going to show you a dynamic warm-up for your ankles. Now this dynamic warm-up only works if you have enough dorsiflexion already. If your ankles were too stiff, if you didn't watch that first video and your ankles are too stiff to do this, you shouldn't start with this as a dynamic warm-up. You should start off with the warm-ups that I gave you before. But this is an advanced level dynamic warm-up. For those who have enough ankle dorsiflexion, this is going to help you warm up even better. So what we're going to do is start off on the floor, on our back, okay? And this movement is sometimes called a deck squat, or in our kids class we call it ninja get up. And we call it ninja get up just because it sounds cooler than a deck squat. So what we're going to do is do a backwards roll and come up and make sure that our heel, okay, our heel does not leave the ground. Our heel wants to stay on the ground. This way we're stretching that calf out in a dynamic fashion. Then we're going to roll back and here. And you can use your hands to do this. If you don't want to use your hands, you don't have to, right? You can do it without your hands. But the idea is just to get a nice, easy, dynamic movement. As you can see, as I warm up, it's getting easier and easier to do it without my hands. But we're just warming up. Just getting that ankle. You want to feel the stretch in the back of your calf. Okay, I might do that maybe 20 times, so 10 times on each side, or until I feel like my calf is really stretched out. Now, reverse patterning. This is where normally you would start your stance from standing and crouch down. We're going to start this the same way with our dynamic stretch on the ground in our deck squat or ninja get up, and we're going to only use one leg. So it's going to be kind of like a one-legged squat or a pistol if you want. But we're only going to get up into our stance and then come back down. We're not going to go all the way up yet. Okay? So the idea is I go into my backwards roll and I come up. Then I come down and up and down, and it doesn't matter how you hold your hands. Right? And maybe hold it for a second at the top. It doesn't really matter. You just want to try to get into that stance, right? In the beginning, you might not be able to get up to parallel. You might not be able to get there, okay? Actually, that's the hardest point to hold. If your knee or your hips go below your knee, there's less pressure on your knee. It's actually easier to hold that, okay? Because of the muscles involved. So anything above parallel is going to be easier, or below parallel is going to be easier. But at parallel is the hardest point, and that's where we're looking for. That's where we're going to get the most benefit from our stance. So the next progression would be to stand all the way up. So we're going to start, roll back, one-legged all the way up, and then once you get good at that, you can try going down, okay? Now the idea isn't to actually hold the stance yet. It's just to start feeling, okay, my hips are going back, and right whenever you feel like you need to roll, roll, okay? So it's going to look like this. Here, down, up, down. Again, it doesn't matter how you hold your hands. And then the eventual goal would be to be able to hold it for a little bit. Maybe you only get like 1 second hold at that thigh parallel. Then maybe you work to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and so on until you can hold it for a substantial amount of time. And then you can work into just lowering into your stance. And at first you should start going slow, dropping into your stance, but eventually the goal is to be able to just drop right into that stance, right at thigh parallel, and hold it low. Let me know what you think of this progression in the comments below. And until then, next time, guys, keep practicing.